Someone in the chat says, if you're a producer, how would you go about finding and contacting up-and-coming singers like yourself?
You need to just be obsessed with finding videos on either Instagram or YouTube. Like, really just take the time to look out for singers and just type in, like, I don't know, gospel singer or soul singer or whatever. There will always be somebody with a tag on there like that. So I think for me, I would say, yeah, just really just do your research all the time. It won't just land on you.
Hey.
Hi, G. Good to see you.
There
G,
you
how's
go.
your morning? How's the stream going? Hey, everybody.
All the way.
Hey, guys.
Stream
Everyone
has been
online?
going good. How are we all?
We're really good. We're all
Yeah,
hanging
stream
out
has
at Toolroom HQ, so it's been a really fun morning so far.
That's good. I'm glad.
Hang on, I keep going off the screen. There we go. I'm conscious
There you
of
are.
talking in front of Ali.
and Sophie, she's just got a shoulder.
Sophia, come in.
Sophia. Hey, there she is.
It's a nice tight squeeze.
There she is.
Good
How
eye,
are
Ash?
you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Do you know what? I feel like I've emailed you and messaged you so many times
What?
that.
Why are you saying
and
this
I've-
now on live?
but I've never seen your I've never spoke to your face. So it's hi, how are you doing?
Do you know what? It's really nice to speak to your face too, if that's how you want to say it. So yeah, I'm fine.
Wicked.
Thank you.
Let's get cracking. Ali, Story. Let's start with you.
Hey,
How are you? How
Good,
are you?
Thanks.
For those that don't know who you are, can you just give everyone a little bit of rundown of you and everything about you?
Yeah, so I'm from a little town in Northern Ireland called Castlewellan, which no one will have heard of. So let's just say Belfast. Moved to London 10 years ago. Got into music into DJing and production about 4 years ago. My background is music anyway, but I'm classically trained. My mum's a music teacher, so I've always kind of had music and instruments in my life. And it was only really like halfway through my life in London that I started taking it seriously. So yeah, packed up the day job and went and did some music courses at London Sound Academy, which is really
Nice.
good. They do a lot of one-on-one lessons as well, similar to the Toolroom guys here. And yeah, it was really lockdown that when I started taking it seriously, because I had all the time in the world to produce. I lost my job and everything. So
Oh fuck.
yeah, it's been a crazy year and a half. Everything's kind of going very fast, very quickly. So I'm really, really enjoying the ride and looking forward to 2022.
Yeah, you had some big tracks out the last 18 months. Let's talk about some of those. Smile, Dance Much. We'll start with Smile, maybe.
Well, my first song was a collaboration with Jaded, back just before lockdown, I think it was, where she did some work on and did the vocals on that as well. And I think it got to number 7 in the Tech House chart, so that was the first ever kind of release, but it was a collaboration. And then I had a few album compilation tracks out on Club Sweat and the Toolroom album, which were Trippin' and Wheels of Motion. I did the vocals on Wheels of Motion as well. Which was quite fun and interesting project to do because I'm not a singer, but there was no one else to do it at the time, so it worked out. And then yeah, my first debut single was with Axtone, which is Axwell's label from Swedish House Mafia, so that was obviously like huge for me personally. I've been following them for a long time, seen them loads of times in Ibiza and Ushuaia, so yeah, big milestone for me. Did really well on Spotify, and then that's opened a lot of other doors into obviously working with Love Other and a few other major labels out there, which have always been kind of like a dream. So yeah, really enjoying life right now.
That's huge. Axtones, that's huge. Right, for big things like this, we have sound effects. So I feel like you should get one of these.
I'm gonna put that on my next
Westwood's
track.
about to jump in.
Okay.
or also we have the ultimate sound. I'm a big fan of the Hulk, so we have the ultimate smash. The big smash.
These are
We're
going to
big
be
fans.
some fillers in my next release then.
Great. So you do the so I was going to be dumb and I didn't know whether you did vocals on your tracks or whether you brought vocalists in, but you do some on yours.
I did my own vocals for my first 3. Yeah, I did She Lion, Breeds of Motion, and Dance Much. Pure again, just because it was locked on and I didn't know any songwriters, I didn't know any vocalists. I just kind of was messing about and jamming in the studio. Then obviously for Smile, which was my Axton release, that was actually a Splice sample.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody's aware of those kind of platforms where you download all the samples or drums, whatever you want. You just pay a monthly subscription, which is really cool, very handy. And then her name is actually Abby. She reached out to me a few weeks ago or last month, because she came across the track and she said that's my vocal. So it was already released and out in the world for like I think 3 or 4 months before she even saw it herself, because she just creates the vocal packs with a variety that you can choose from. So yeah, quite a funny story behind that one. And then Higher Love, which I was up in my last release on Love Another. The vocal on that is actually a Eurovision song, which never got put through in Sweden in the end.
Way.
So I kind of got to steal it, which was a nice story behind that as well. But
how did that happen?
Just working with. I actually had a Kim English vocal on that record, and the guys at the label thought the instrumental was strong enough to kind of hold on its own to find an original, and we worked with a few songwriters and stumbled across that one and it fitted perfectly. So yeah, a bit of tweaking and mixing and yeah. That's
good. We played it earlier. It's a banger. Like, congrats. And you've just been put all over Radio 1 Tune of the Week. Let's talk about that. That's amazing.
Yeah, Ariel Free put it up this morning, Tune of the Week, and then I think Charlie and Melvin and Ricky had it 2 weeks ago as well as Tune of the Week. So I mean it's mental for me. I grew up listening to Radio 1, so it's mental to think how far you can come in a year and a half, you know, from losing your job and being broke and like not kind of taking it seriously but not really, because you're kind of working all the time and having not enough time to produce and DJ and work and keep a roof over your head. So it's it takes a lot of hard work and determination, but you know, if you're hungry for it, I don't see why anyone else can't get on the same level.
Yeah, exactly. That's so mental. You must be literally heard it on the radio and going, fuck, that's mental.
Yeah, it is fucking weird. Really weird. Every time I'm just not used to it. Just not used to it at all. But again, as well, like you got to remember, whenever you're a producer, you've heard your record so many times, you know. So it's quite nice to like have like all the fresh ears hearing it, because I've had it on repeat for months. I've had that record for over a year before I actually went out and did something. So it's cool. It's cool to see it get.
What did you learn from the Axton release that you've kind of pulled into this newer Higher Love release? I have a plan for my music. Like Summertime was always going to be the more commercial, happy piano house style, and then moving into Winter, I was going to take it a bit more underground. Personally, I'm like underground music is the kind of music I prefer to play in a club. But strategically, in an artist's career, I want to kind of build my profile with the more commercial, kind of almost pop-friendly music, radio-friendly music, grow the profile a bit, and then once you have a little bit of profile, you can afford to be a bit more creative with your music and playful. So now I'm moving into Winter, I've got a lot more kind of different styles coming out. I try and make every record different. I don't want to kind of release the same record twice. So yeah, there's a plan to the madness, method behind the madness, so they say. How far in advance did that plan go? I was in Mexico in January on holiday before COVID happened in March, and I sat down and made a business plan. Really, I just made like a kind of Excel sheet for the year, set goals, set targets, set strategies, set kind of money. How am I going to survive? How am I going to invest? I've obviously spent years and years before that saving for all my equipment. I gave up a highly paid job in London, dropped a 50 grand salary to 50 grand on my salary just to get my foot through the door and work for a record label. So you have to kind of take a bit of a hit. At times it's not all plain sailing, it's not easy. But if you have a plan and you work hard to it and you kind of stick to it and you've set yourself goals and really, really push yourself and push your boundaries, it works. Yeah, I love it. I'm all about that as well. I love that. Well, it's good to have a plan, isn't it? Like everyone, I think if you kind of just go with the flow, you risk kind of getting a wee bit lost. And I think a lot of people also pigeonhole themselves into like this is the only style of music that works. This is my style of music, and people make music for themselves instead of the audience. So it's about taking a lot of factors into consideration, I guess.
So the first part of the plan, obviously, like you're saying, is build a brand and release these more commercial tracks, and then now you're going to go underground. So have you got what's the releases coming up for in the underground space?
Well, I say underground. It's just a little bit kind of under compared to the stuff. I'm only going to do it gradually. I'm not going to go heavily underground. I'm going to always keep myself on the fence with my music, so tapping into both kind of over and under. So I've got a new track just released 2 weeks ago on Signal Supply, which is Atlantic's new dance label. Which is got a Blur sample from Girls Who Like Boys, so that's doing really well at the minute. And then next on the list, I've got another release coming with Love Another in November, I believe. And then I've got a collaboration with Sub on Myth of Nyx. I don't know how to say, is it Nyx or NYX? I'm not sure.
Not sure.
And then another, my most underground record will be with Armada around March time.
Sick.
So
you're spacing those out every couple of months.
Sorry?
You're spacing those out every couple of months. That's
I kind of like just part of my plan is to just always get momentum and have a record out every 8 weeks at least, 8 to 10 weeks at least. I don't want to ever like have a big gap in my release schedule. So kind of, it's almost like there's too much music there now. It's like 6 months is booked up, and I'm like, oh no, I have to wait till next summer now to release another one. So. Did
you make all that all in one go, all that music, or have you been making it a long way?
Lots of, during lockdown, obviously I just was living in the studio the entire time, and I obviously lost my job. I work from home a lot. I freelance and stuff. I have a marketing job on the side too, so it's balancing everything. A lot. I kind of like would make a project and maybe come back to it in a few months. I've got a bit of burnout. It's really good to take a break, but I think getting a track to 80%, it's always the last 10 to 20% that takes it from being good to great, in my opinion. You can think it's okay, but take a break, let people listen to it, get some proper feedback. Don't take it personally, take it as positive criticism. Everyone has different tastes, but like production wise, technique wise, it's good to kind of let some of the other expert producers out there and record labels let you know what they think. And it's adding that 10%, like the filler sounds or tweaking the vocal or kind of adding that extra hook can really, really make a record. Like I experienced with Higher Love. The songwriters and vocalists there did a great job.
Let's talk about the girls and boys. So how's that come about? So that's obviously taking the sample from Blur. Have you had that resung? Is it?
My friend actually sent me the Blur track during lockdown and said, remix this for me. I was like, all right, cool. So I just was playing around with it just for fun, and it just transpired into like what it was. But Blur did clear the vocal on that. So it's the original vocal on that got clearance pretty quick actually, which was quite nice because I think Atlantic, Warner's, they own the original rights to the original record. So the whole process happened very, very fast. It was very smooth, and it's quite nice to get permission to use such an iconic sample. I think I was 4 years old when that was charting the
Did you pitch it to that? Did you pitch it to those labels because they own the original? Was that the plan?
No, I didn't know they had the original.
Wow.
I sent them I sent them like 30 records, and they were like, that one.
No way.
I think another label had expressed interest in it as well, but I think because they knew someone else was kind of interested and they had the rights, they sold it to me. So they were like, we can get this cleared quick. I was like,
nice.
All right, it's yours.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, taking on big samples like that must have been like, did you?
Yeah, it's pretty daunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of want to do it proud, you know what I mean? And I think music evolves so fast, and flavors change and tastes change, and it's kind of nice to put like a more modern kind of spin on a dance classic.
And then finally, before we speak to somebody else, let's talk about Printworks. You're playing the 29th of October.
Mental, yeah. So
Have
this is
you
like
been
my third
there?
gig since lockdown. So this is going from like playing from 500 people to like 6,000, which is insane. And with Joel as well. Printworks has been probably my dream venue to play. Up there in my top three.
This is the first time.
Yeah, it's I can't quite believe it. I'm still prepping my set.
I spent like last week just like sorting out my music, and I'm still not ready yet. I still need to figure out the rest of the set, but I'm really excited for it. It's really cool.
That's mental. That's amazing. Well done. Congratulations.
Hopefully I get some nice photos and videos from that one.
Yeah, where's that fit in the plan? So you obviously got releases coming out. Will you be content creating as well at the same time as playing? How are you going to have someone there?
Yeah, I'd like to. I've got obviously photographers and stuff coming, but I want to try and get some content of me playing my own music out to like a big crowd. I think that's quite a big milestone for any up and coming artist or producer or DJ. So to have like a nice reaction to your music, something that's quite authentic. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Wicked. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you. Everyone's disappeared.
I know, where are they all?
No, they're
Carly
here.
Wilford. Let's chat to you next.
Right.
Here she is. Hello, Carly.
Hi, G.
How are
How are you?
I'm good, mate.
Good.
How are you?
Good, really good. Isn't Ali amazing?
I know,
What a
incredible.
We've got a load of powerhouses today, though, to be fair. This room
Yes.
is like a bit of a crazy space to be in today.
It must be quite a buzz there today.
Yeah, just really good people, huge personalities, though, which you can imagine. It's just really fun.
So you've joined my stream before. You joined on my birthday. Thank you for doing that. For those that might remember, but me and you have been mates a long time. We went to Miami together. But for those that don't know who you are, can you give them a little run through you for the people in the chat?
Yeah, of course. Hey, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Carly Wilford. I'm a DJ, music producer. And yeah, I've got a track out currently on Love Other with an amazing vocalist called Anelisa Lamola, who is joining us as well today. I've been producing, I learned through the Toolroom Academy, so I've been producing for just over, 18 months, I'd say. Just had my fourth release. And yeah, just loving making music, and I've only been doing it a really short amount of time, so I'm still massively learning, but yeah, it's just really fun. The track out at the moment is doing really, really well. And then I had another release come out on Friday with a guy called Danny Reese on Toolroom, called This Feeling. And so yeah, it's just been going really well, G. Loving it, absolutely loving every minute of it.
Yeah, I mean, last time you joined us, Together for Love had just come out on Basement Sounds. That was mental that time, and then that was a big track for you as well. How did that do in the end, and what did you learn from that you brought into the next tracks?
Yeah, what's really interesting is that obviously my first release was on the Toolroom album, Leaders of the New School. So that was part of an album release as opposed to a single release. Basement Sound, Australian label with Alex Preston, amazing human. I did it with a girl called Mai, who's based over in America. And that was a single release, so very different. And obviously when you put out a release as part of an album, you're almost, all of us together were promoting each other's tracks. So that became really fun. And it felt like you were part of something bigger than just your single. And then when we did Together for the Love, that was Mai and I kind of stepping out on our own and releasing that as both of us. So yeah, that did really well. It didn't do as well as Generation X. It didn't do as well as my current release, but it was a little bit more underground. The thing was, it's kind of balanced, and I think Ali's just mentioned it as well, between, making tracks that are going to get you club bookings and making tracks that are going to get Spotify playlists. And there's such a different vibe with both of those things. And so with Together for the Love, I tried to do something that was a little bit more clubby, less radio friendly, I suppose. But yeah, it did really well. I was really happy with it. And then obviously I then kind of moved towards Re-Rise, which is currently out at the moment and just smashing it, which is crazy. It's almost like this track is way bigger than the moment that we wrote it in,
Yeah, we're going to talk about Re-Rise in a second. I literally finished my stream on Friday and switched Danny Howard on, and it was being played, and I was like, yes, Carl, go on.
Yeah, he's really been backing it, actually, bless him. And again, it's done really well on Apple and Spotify. It just got added to, I think it's Dance Nation or House Nation on Apple Music today, because the Shazams, every time it's played on radio, just gets these huge spikes. So I think obviously Apple and Shazam are so closely linked, aren't they? So if you start doing well on Shazam, I think Apple naturally would pick it up. But yeah, it's been amazing hearing it on radio on a Friday night, especially because obviously Danny's taken over from Annie Mac on that show. So whenever I hear it, it's really iconic for me, because it kind of, I don't know, it just makes you go funny, doesn't it? A bit goosebumpy, to be honest. Amazing.
Yeah. So let's talk about We Rise. Tell me about the story about it. Tell me about how it's made.
Okay, so We Rise was written in lockdown. Obviously, before this, I was a full-time DJ. So, whoa, did you see the lights just flicker off and on? Yeah, I was a full-time DJ. So obviously my work completely stopped. So that was kind of crazy because I was used to traveling all over the world. And then all of a sudden I'm just at home. And I started the Toolroom course in the January and it kind of ran through to the April. So it just meant that all the way through lockdown, I was learning to make beats. And I actually did a session with Sarah Story. So Sarah Story, who's now Danny Howard's show on Radio 1, Danny took Annie's slot. And she's an amazing top liner and brilliant songwriter. So her and I did a session on Zoom and we just had a jam and I'd made this beat and then we just started writing. And the pair of us were really talking about that moment when, okay, right now we're all stuck at home, but the clubs are going to open again, the world's going to move. What's it going to be like? And actually, are we going to go back to what we were before lockdown? Are we all going to be hiding behind our phones or are we going to be more in the moment? And we were talking about when we used to go out back in the day and it was like, at the time, there weren't as many mobiles. And so you and your mates, we used to travel up and down the country. You'd go on a Saturday, go and buy a little dress, heels, get your makeup and hair done, probably have a sunbed. I'm still paying for that now. Anyway, all of that, then go out and literally rave from Friday to Sunday. Used to miss like family dinners and stuff and make some weird excuses as to where I was. So anyway, we were talking about when all that comes back, are we going to go back to what that was as opposed to, the Instagram generation where I just felt like people weren't really living in it as much, and can we make it more about the music? Anyway, that's what We Rise is about. There's obviously, I'm a hippie anyway, like for me it's like stuff happens in order for you to learn and in order for you to grow. So what can we learn from this experience? And however bad it is, we are going to come out of it and things are going to be okay and we will rise again. And so, yeah, so that was that. We kind of wrote it and then we were looking for a vocalist and weirdly, like Frankie Wah come together the whole way through lockdown was just my vibe. Especially when we were playing it on streams and you're kind of live streaming these really synthetic DJ sets with you and a camera in a room. And I remember just almost that track came out and for me it was like imagining all these people all over the world like watching from different places but still coming together in that space. Anyway, I was addicted to the vocal on it and the person didn't appear on the track, so I went on a real geek mission one day to try and find out who the vocalist was and found out who it was, and I found this amazing vocalist called Anelisa, sent her a message just saying like, you've absolutely owned this and I really love your voice or something on those lines, and just saying how important the track was at that time. And when we were looking for vocalists, I was going through my Instagram and thinking, who can I get to sing this track and jump on it and who would own it like way more than what we'd created. And I sent Annalise a little voice note and the rest is history. She jumped on it and absolutely took it to a whole new level. Like, yeah, I feel so proud of the track now. When I play it out, I get a bit emotional. I still get a bit like, I have that moment where I'm just, it's so special. And people really react to it. Like people that haven't heard it before, by the end of the track, they're kind of singing it back to you. And that's when you kind of know you're on something,
Yeah, I remember when you played to us last year, end of last year, and we were just like, fuck, that's so good. Yeah, massive, man. Well done.
Thanks. Well, it's all down to this girl. Here she is.
We'll chat to her in a second. I'm well excited to chat to her.
She is such a legend. And we've become mates. And honestly, she's just a brilliant human. You're going to love her so much.
Let's talk about finally This Feeling, which came out Friday.
This Feeling.
Let's talk about this quickly, and then we'll jump into Annalise. Tell us about This Feeling.
Okay, so This Feeling is a collaboration with Danny Reese. Danny Reese is one of the A&Rs at Toolroom. So obviously the whole way through me making music, the poor guy has me peppering his inbox with going, can you give me some feedback? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And when I was working on Generation X, I remember sending it to him and he came back with all these notes like this. And I'm just sitting there thinking, oh my God, how am I even going to do this? anyway, we started working really closely with one another, and he was just really honest and has such a good ear. He's really smart at what he does. And so the pair of us, again, just on Zoom, started collaborating, knocking beats back and forth, and yeah, just started working on this feeling. And I just feel, again, just really proud to do another release on Toolroom. I respect them so much as a label. The team here are just amazing, like literally world class at what they do. And so, yes, that came out on Friday. Again, it's doing really well. It's got some really good Spotify playlists, like when UK house music and I think New Dance Revolution. And again, it's a bit more underground. I'm trying to do something that's a bit more commercial than mixed with an underground track, because it's the type of stuff I like playing in clubs. You know what I'm like, G, I love a good bass heavy house track. So however much I want to do the vocal stuff, I want to release stuff that's made for the clubs, and that really does that. And yeah, like I say, collaborating with Danny is just such a dream, because he's an amazing producer, amazing A&R, and yeah, it just felt totally right to do it.
Yeah, it's a big club track. We've played before, and you do play lots of lots. You go quite dark sometimes. It's quite cool.
Occasionally, although I do that sometimes with people, and they're like, if I'm doing it back to back, they're like, Wilford, can you just claw this back the other way, please? It's definitely got a bit 4 a.m. and it's only midnight.
What else is coming this year for you?
Okay, so I have a remix coming actually, which is coming in December. It's the first remix I've ever done, and it's coming with Big Zoo and Myra May. And it's a track called I Did It. And so that's coming out towards the end of the year. And yeah, I've just been finishing some other tracks over the last few weeks, hopefully looking to get signed for early next year. So yeah, just loads of gigs, G. The world's open again. I'm out there raving, mate. It's so fun. Gigs are amazing. Like, people are just so in the zone. I don't know what you guys are like, but it's just so fun at the moment. Like, I've been playing, I did a little 3 dates at Ministry recently, and just seeing people back in clubs and dancing and just, you know, having that freedom again was just so great to be around.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It's so great to see you all, as always.
And you,
right.
Should I pass on to Anelisa? Is that
yes,
you want
please.
Next, or do you want SL? Okay, cool.
Yes, please. And then
Here she is.
Are you enjoying this interview? If you are, consider subscribing to us on YouTube. And if you want to watch them live, come and join us on Twitch. The link's below, twitch.tv/Graham Farmer. We have live interviews, A&R sessions, demo listening sessions. We get labels into signing records. Come and join us on Twitch. It's good fun. Let's jump back into the interview, though. Let's go.
Hey, Gregory.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Well, lovely to meet you.
You too. Thank you for having me.
So you've worked on some big records. I was just researching you this morning, and I was like, "Fuck, there's a lot of big records here." Firstly, congrats. But tell us about you. Like, tell everyone about you.
I was born in South Africa.
Yep.
We moved over to the UK when I was about 12. I've been singing all my life. I kind of started singing when I was in primary school / church. So I did like a lot of primary school choir stuff and like choir at church. And then when we moved over to the UK, we lived in Plymouth, and my friends overheard me singing. I didn't really think about singing as a career type of thing. Because I knew I could sing, but it wasn't a big deal because my whole family sings and nobody cares. I'm like, yeah, whatever. They're like, everybody can hold a note. Like, we don't care. Like, you're not special. So when I met my friends in Plymouth, they kind of like, they entered me for X Factor, and I didn't know about it. So I got a letter in the house, and it kind of was like, hey, you've got an audition. And I thought, oh, do they give out auditions to everybody? But I didn't realize that they'd applied for me. So my mum was like, you know what, why not? Let's go. You know, you can sing. Let's try it out. And I think when I got eliminated on that show, I was at that point, it was at top 12 in the girls category. That's when I knew. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. So let me go figure out how I'm going to go do it. So I went into musical theatre then. I went to drama school, moved to London, went to drama school when I was 21. And then I just met a lot of people. I was interning at Radio 1 Extra and stuff. So I was like meeting people with music. And then I ended up doing session stuff, you know, like just vocaling for a lot of people. And yeah, I've been lucky to have stumbled on being part of really major tracks, which now in hindsight, I wish I'd put my names to them. But then at the time, I wasn't trying to be a dance artist. I wasn't trying to be, a vocalist on, house music or dance or whatever it was. I didn't know who I wanted to be as an artist. So I didn't want to align myself with anything that later could kind of put me in a pigeonhole. And then fast forward, lockdown came and I had a bit more time away from my musical theatre world, which keeps me traveling a lot of the times. I just fell in love with writing again. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I was looking through some tracks and I was like, why is she not on? Like, why are you not appearing on these tracks? And I was like, oh no, I hope it's not like the. There's obviously a lot around vocalists where they're not put on, their names are put on tracks, and I was like, I hope it's not that, because.
Yeah, I just wasn't in a place to like add it to my repertoire at the time. Paperwork wise, I'm taken care of, but I just didn't. I didn't feel like my name needed to be at the front, and it's only recently that I've kind of like been able to work with some incredible people that I can like be like, I'm really proud to put my name to this, because as much as like you could be having an opportunity to work with like huge DJs that are doing really well. For me, it has to make sense. It has to resonate with me, because at the end of the day, when you get out there to perform it, I have to believe what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Like I have to be able to sell it, especially being a singer. You can't. I just wouldn't have liked to have gone on and like started singing things that I don't enjoy doing. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's been very important for it to resonate with me and who I am.
Yeah, when I mentioned that you were coming on, one of my regulars, Skeleton Keys, made a track with you, and then I realised that I'd actually covered that track and put that track out as the first play, and I was like, fuck, that was ages ago, and I was like, fuck, I've known about it for a long time, fuck, cool.
They're very cool actually, because I met them through Icarus. You know Icarus, right?
Yeah. So
I did a track called King Kong with Icarus, and I met them on the tour that I did with Icarus in 2018, I think. Yes, and we had been saying, I need to get in and write with you. And then a lovely lady called Lauren Lamont, who was on tour with us as well, was like, Anelisa, I've written the song for you. And I was like, what? Girl, say what? And then I heard it and it was just like, yeah, that's me. And then obviously the boys produced it as well.
Someone in the chat says, if you're a producer, how would you go about finding and contacting up-and-coming singers like yourself?
I think, like, nowadays the wonderful thing is that you have YouTube. I also think you need to if you go to Discogs, Discogs has, a log of like who's vocaling a track, or you can find out who the person, like say for example, whatever track and you're trying to find that person. Do it via that, and then obviously like Google on like put it on Google or whatever. But I would say like you need to just be obsessed with finding videos on either Instagram or YouTube. Like really just take the time to look out for singers and just type in, like I don't know, gospel singer or soul singer or whatever. There will always be somebody with a tag on there like that. So I think for me, I would say, just do your research all the time. It won't just land on you.
Carly mentioned Frankie Wiles Come Together. That track was humongous last year, and let's talk about that one a little bit.
Still rising. That track, so beautiful, so beautiful. So I was doing session work for a wonderful guy called Tyrrell, and he's Sample Replays. And he came over and he was like, oh, they've liked your track, because I've done so many tracks with Sample Replays. And he was like, well, we've got this guy called Frankie Wiles. We really like your voice. We really want to feature you on there. And originally we only just did the one verse, because that's why you have the two versions of the track now. Because we had only had one verse on it and a chorus, and I think that was recorded in early 2019, I think.
Years get weird now, don't they? Because of last year, it's all like, when did I do that? What the fuck?
Yeah, but it's also for me as a session singer. Like I'm not a session singer as such now, because I'm doing my artistry now. But I think at the time, as being a session singer, you kind of tend to do tracks and then they don't come out for years. Do you know what I mean? So but when Frankie Wiles came out, I'd forgotten I'd sang that. I only remembered because paperwork had to be signed. Do you know what I mean? So like at that point I was like, oh, I did that. Oh, okay, let's go. But yeah, no, that was a really, really fun one. Frankie is a wonderful guy. He eventually introduced himself over time, because obviously by the time the track had come out, I hadn't met him, but he basically had introduced himself on socials and was like, I'm really proud of this track. I wish I had you as a feature. And I was like, it's okay. I was just in a different space, you know, at the time, for me not to be part of it. But I don't really regret it, because it's one of those songs that I just feel like people know, especially my family, like, and people that know me, they're like, it's your voice, I know it is. So I'm looking forward to doing it live. Me and Frankie are currently like trying to organize that, because I think the people need it. They need to hear it live, and I'd love to do it live as well. But that's like a long story short, it was a session
Wow.
situation.
Let's talk about We Rise, which you've done with Carly. I've obviously heard it from Carly's end, so let's hear it from your end, and we can, yeah.
She was horrible. No, I'm joking. I'm kidding. No, this was so wonderful, because Carly had messaged me a little bit prior to her reaching out about We Rise. She had messaged me saying, hey, you know, I just found out you're the vocalist on Frankie Ross' track. Like, I really love your voice and blah, blah. And just giving me like some just nice, warmly, sisterly love. And then I think maybe a couple of weeks or maybe a month or so, she then reached out again and was like, listen, I have this track. I've just sent you the Dropbox. Like, let me know what you think. I really want you to be on it. So then I read the message, and then like 2 minutes later, she did my favorite thing, which is to like, I always, especially with people that I don't know and I'm about to work with you, I really need to know your energy and like feel it. So it's such an awkward time when you're in lockdown where you can't just be like, let's go to the studio kind of thing. So she left me a voice note, and the voice note was so just sincere and very open and honest. And it was a refreshing conversation to be having, because a lot of the times when people reach out to me to do work, it's almost like they want me to be their worker as opposed to being part of the process. And I don't think people consider a lot for, you know, vocalists, that we are artists ourselves. Do you know what I mean? So like Carly was very open to me doing whatever I needed to do to make that song mine, which was amazing. And, you know, and the label's been so incredible in terms of keeping me included in the whole process. So yeah, all in all, I'm really excited. And also female empowerment. That's really important for me in that industry. It's really important for people to hear us and see us at the front. So yeah, for me, it's really exciting to be doing my first collaboration with a powerhouse that is Miss Carly Wilford.
You mentioned there vocalists kind of getting a second-hand treatment. I had the Melody Men on before, and they were saying this similar thing. Like, obviously I didn't realise this was a thing, and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think, do you know what it is? I think it's because basically what I always say is, without my voice, all that's happening is like buttons, and not to diminish anybody's like creativity. I think people forget that everything that goes into there, every ingredient matters, because otherwise you're not going to have a nice meal. You understand what I'm saying? So I think it's to do with ego. A lot of people want to have their name at the front of things, because it always makes me laugh when you hear all these like wonderful dance tracks that are like really amazing, but you can clearly hear that the voice is carrying what's happening, and then you don't see people's names. Luckily, in my case, like I said, I've had choices and I've made choices not to be part of that, but I do know a lot of vocalists that don't get given that opportunity, and it's almost like they think that if you're part of it, they're somehow losing money. So I don't know. I really don't get it. I mean, it would be an interesting thing to ask to a lot of producers, to be like, what is your problem? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, what are you saying? But you know, I have been so lucky as well to have had, you know, a wonderful manager by the name Elizabeth Troy, who is a star in the game as well herself, and she's been around for quite some time, and she's been the best guide to have somebody that is established in this very industry and understanding how it works and how to speak up or what to look out for. I think it's a wonderful thing. So I think if there are any singers in the room, I think make sure you go out there and find out what you are actually like worthy of and what you're supposed to get, because sometimes singers don't know what they're allowed to have or allowed to ask for, or you know what I mean. Like, so I think I would teach myself about the business side of the industry as well.
I was going to ask you about the tips for singers actually the next. So that's a big one. Where would you ask those? I guess if you're a singer, where would you find that information?
Well, for me, I've acquired a lot of books on business management, business, entertainment law. Like you can get some books that just basically explains the jargon that, sometimes when you're reading a contract, it doesn't make sense to you. So like it kind of like breaks it down into like regular people info. Yeah. And also just, and also ask questions and like, just really just go and find people that are doing the same thing. Like I always say to people, like my DMs are open. Obviously I'm not always going to be there for everybody, but my DMs are open. I think it's always worth it to go and ask people questions about things like this, and don't be afraid. Just go out there and ask the right things to the right people. And yeah, Google is your mate. Google is there.
Finally, but let's talk about the Adelphi Music Factory tour you're about to go on. Tell us.
I love the boys. We're actually towards the end of it actually, because I'm about to do something else after. The boys have been so incredible. We did Field Day Festival together, which was wonderful earlier this year. We kind of been trying to write together for quite some time, and they were like, hang on, we think you could sound really good on some of our tracks doing a live PA. And I listened to some of them. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's my voice, but okay, let's go. Because some of them for real, it's a sample of my voice. So like, I was like, oh, okay, well, let's go. We got through that. And then our last date is end of this month. Because I will then be moving to Manchester until January to do The Wiz. I've just been cast in the production of The Wiz, the musical. So that's what's next. So that's what's next for me. And I've also got a track with Mr. Jam coming out on the 5th of November called Can't Stop Now. This will be my second track with the man. And I'm really, really looking forward to it, because this one is like a real... It's a verse, chorus, verse, the works. It's like, it's my kind of world.
He's a good friend of mine. He's amazing. Some amazing music.
Indeed.
Yeah, I love him so much.
I do too. He's a good lad. Good lad.
Les, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Bye, everyone.
Hi, Graham.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Firstly,
did you see them all scatter and get me my throne? I was like, move that, put that chair there, get out.
Don't look in my direction.
Yeah, don't breathe near me unless you brush your teeth.
Firstly, how the bloody hell are you? Because I saw on social media that you've been through some shit the last few weeks.
Some shit. Do you know what? I'll show you exactly how I am, Graham. I've got a blue badge with a press shot as the image. Look at that.
Wow.
Put your hand behind
Look
the
how
camera.
cool that is.
That's cool.
Behind the camera, you'll be able
Wait.
to.
That's... Oh, no, that ruined
Forward.
it. What I'm saying is...
I can't teach them anything.
What I'm saying is... I've got the best blue badge in the world. That's just posted on my front of my car.
Nice. So you can park anywhere.
I can park anywhere, yeah, but also it says SL, link in bio.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Go on, let's get to it.
I love that. You're awesome.
Amazing.
Really
Is your back better now?
No, it's not better, Graham. I'm disabled. I showed you my badge. Got 12 months of this crap.
Okay, let's crack on. You've had some mega releases recently, and obviously we've supported you on DT for a long time. Like I said before, it's great to actually talk to you face to face instead of just by messenger or by email.
Innit?
So I feel like
we've been pen pals.
I do as well for a long time. I was like scrolling back and going, "Fuck, we've been covering for fucking ages, and I've never spoke to her."
Yeah, it's like, so you and Sophie are really good friends, aren't you? Actually, no, we've never met.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on. No, we are friends though, Graham, aren't we?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Let's tell everyone about you, if you can, from your end, and tell us your backstory.
Tell everyone about me. Is this like a dating profile? Like, how do you want to do it?
Let's just talk about your previous releases and where we got to today.
Okay. You know what? I don't actually know where to start. I've only been doing it for like 5 years. It's not long.
Yeah.
That's all I've got for you, to be honest. You're gonna have to be specific, and I'll answer you.
Okay. So you've had some big releases on some big labels, Toolroom for starters. Tell us about those releases. Tell us about where. Like, tell us you had the first one. You're running on Love Another a way back. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, Love Another, they're Toolroom's sister label, aren't they? So I started working with them when I went under management with these lot, and started to find out about the label and Sean, who runs it. And I really liked where he was going with the label. So I produced Running when I came out of a breakup, actually. So unlucky to the girl that dumped me, but lucky for me, they got millions of streams. And I gave the track to Sean for Love Another, and it did really well. And it's kind of like Love Another. I really like the label because it's like my vibe, piano-y house, and very light and something for everybody. Whereas Toolroom's more underground, so I like that I can switch between both.
Yeah.
In which case the Toolroom release that you talked about, that's coming out on the main label in a couple of weeks.
I didn't realise you got one called. That's called. What's the Toolroom? Tell me about the Toolroom release.
Yeah, there's a track coming out called Love Vibration. It's very Dennis Ferrer inspired.
Nice.
It's really, really different. It'll be something different for the label, but it's really, really catchy, kind of a hip shaker. I guarantee if it comes on in Asda, you'll drop your trolley and you'll just be like, oh yeah. You will though. It's sick.
Talk to me about your process of making these records. Where do you start? What's the starting point for you? And then how's it develop?
Right. It's no secret that I've got ADHD, so I get really overstimulated by going out and speaking to people. I know it seems like I'm really cool and calm, but I'm actually not. Losing my shit a bit. So I just like to sit in the studio away from everybody, and I'll spend like 16 hours in there, and I'll just like smash out tracks just like every day or whatever, and then I'll send them over to Paul, who's my manager, and then he'll just get them out to eat. Like basically, since I've been signed with Paul, he just gets them distributed to like all the labels for me. So all I now have to do is just concentrate on the production side of it, which is so much better for me. It's like less overwhelming for me to deal with people. So yeah, I just spend all my time at home, secluding myself, lonely. 10 cats.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah.
How did that happen? You being on their management? I didn't realise that happened.
Yeah, I think during lockdown, George Andrews kept in touch with me over the past year that I had, and he was just like talking, like keeping me involved with the music side of things, because I'd already released the franchise on tracks. And he's just always like really supportive and always wanted to hear new music. And then he was like asked about management, and at the time I wasn't sure where I was going with it, because I don't know, it was just a really rough year. But then after speaking with Toolroom, like A&R for a little bit, I decided it would be best to talk about going into management with them. And then he introduced me to Paul Gardner, and then Paul ended up saying I was the best he'd ever heard, and I was better than anybody else he'd ever worked with, and better than any other music he'd ever heard in like a decade, I think. That's what he said. And then just decided to take me on.
That must have been a nice feeling after that year.
Yeah, it was a really nice year. A really nice feeling. It wasn't a nice year. A nice feeling, yeah. To be honest.
And so then that was last year.
Yes.
And then you've had more releases on Love Another again. You're looking forward. Tell us about that one.
Oh yeah, looking forward to come out with Danny CW. I don't really collab with a lot of people. Like I said, I get like overwhelmed. But Danny, he's a friend of mine, so I'm quite comfortable, and we get each other's music style. So I thought I'd bring him into the mix because I'd say 50% of my tracks are with Danny CW. So we were gonna send it out to Sonny Fodera, but they'd already Sonny's label had already chosen, I think, like 3 other tracks. And Love Another, I'd heard it first, so we were like, okay, well, let's give this to Love Another because it'll be a nice follow-up to Running. So yeah, we gave it to Love Another. I feel like the ones that we've placed with Love Another like fit really, really well, and they're doing so well.
Yeah, I do as well. The music-wise and from where they are as a label now, it seems to be. Yeah, you're right. They do fit perfectly. It's great.
Yeah, quite happy with the turnout, to be honest.
And Running Sound had 1.3 million streams.
Yeah, I think they're all me though. Just on repeat.
Just leave it on. We go bed.
Even the Shazams. Oh, what's this song? It's me. I'll just Shazam it. I think it's had like 10 Shazams. I think they're all me as well.
And you mentioned you got some room for Solotoko. Are they coming next year? What's the plans for next year?
Yeah, I've got a fair few releases up until April, I think it is. Well, we've got Toolroom coming up on the 26th of October, I think it is, or something thereabout. Got Solo Toko after that. Got Love Another after that. Good Company after that. And then back to Solo Toko for 2 other releases, which we haven't found the dates for. And then in between all of those, about 4 remixes.
Wow. I've
been busy.
With your are you going to be able to tour those, or are you stuck? Obviously, you're injured, so are you going to be able to tour those, or is it going to be just releasing music for time being?
No, I'm not meant to be, but I'm kind of starting to like move around. DJing, I haven't tried it yet. I'll be trying that today for the first time. I think we'll see how it goes. But I think by next year, I know we've got a good few months, and my recovery is kind of like, it's going up like significant amounts in a positive way, like per day. Mm-hmm. Instead of having like 4 days where I'm really bad, it's now flipped and I'm having like 4 days really good and like 1 day really bad. Do you know what I mean? So I think by like January, when all the sets properly start coming in and I'm DJing like twice a week or whatever, I think I'll be fine by then. If not, I've got crutches or a Zimmer frame even. I've still got that.
Or padded chair as part of your rider.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We're laughing, but it's true.
I don't want any booze. I just want a really nice padded, comfy chair.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about adding like a puppy onto my rider as well. Do you reckon they'd have to give me it?
I mean, it's there. I mean, you might as well. I always think of like with riders, you have to ask for about the most stupid things possible to see if they can actually deliver it just for shits and giggles.
Oh my God, though, if somebody delivered a puppy, I'd be absolutely buzzing. I'd lose my shit.
But then you'd get one every gig though, which then you'd have.
Oh my God, then I could create a business. It'd be called Puppy Love.
Thank you for chatting to me. Should we get the others back in and we can listen to some music? What was your biggest takeaway from that video? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you get out of these videos. I'd love to know which part of the interview you liked or the content you liked. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be in them with you. I'll be chatting to you in the comments. If you're not a subscriber, which I know loads of you aren't, consider subscribing. It's free. You can always unsubscribe anyway. Again, I'd love to build this community on YouTube. If you want to watch these interviews live, we do them on Twitch on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. So come and join us on Twitch. Be part of the OGs in the chat. We have great fun. It's a bit of fun. It's a bit silly, but we also get loads of great content. So come and join us live on Twitch. Again, the link's below. And finally, do you want to join our networking server with other artists, DJs and producers? We do this on Discord. It's a great platform, Discord. I absolutely love it. It's like the old school forums. I really enjoy it. Come and join us on my Discord server. Again, the link's below. I'd love to see you in there. Say hello. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this interview. And I'll see you in the next video or live stream. See you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.